Shots fired. Now reserves from phalanx need to secure ground. But this exercise isn't just about taking out the enemy, it's testing how they do it.
It's responding to effective enemy fire there, RTR. So you return 2 rounds to keep the enemy's heads down, you take cover, you return appropriate fire. So what's happening now is they're closing with the enemy here, and they're about to destroy the position. The fire team's getting closer, using that momentum to get onto the position, and then going to assault from close range. So one pair will keep suppressing, as another pair flanks round to the right. They'll post a grenade into the position, then fire and maneuver through quickly in order to defeat the enemy.
And at this point, what's your overall opinion of how they're doing at the moment?
Okay, so this is their first run through of this fire team. You've got a junior Kingsman, so a private soldier, acting as a 2IC sectioner. So he's acting 1 rank up and he's doing a really good job. It's a really good opportunity for him to step up and do his job, and I'm really pleased that he's controlling his fire team so far. They're making good use of the ground. They've used some debrief points from previous demos. They're popping smoke there before they attack. I'm quite impressed.
Given the ground that you had, you pushed out left and right. You could have given a little bit more spacing, but a lot of people are getting channeled in just because it's a bit of a re-entrant there. However, he still covered the ground as you was told to do.
It was brilliant. It really tested our ability to communicate with each other and test our own skills and drills to make sure that we were in good cover, making sure that we were laying the rounds down.
Exercise Resilient Line 2 wasn't meant to be here in Northumbria. It was set to be based out in Denmark, but because of COVID-19, they had to change their plans.
In the space of a couple of months, we've had to take an exercise that was planned overseas, hosted by the Danish military, find locations in the UK, identify what training potential that would give us, then redesign our exercise so that it fits within the availability of the ranges that we have. So yeah, that has been a challenge.
And with that, they were left with one option: to camp out on a disused runway on the Scottish border.
So this is my tent, tent 11. I'm staying in it with 2 other officers from phalanx. As you can see, there's lots of space inside at the moment, and there's fewer of us in this tent than there would be normally, and that's all linked into the COVID restrictions that we're experiencing on the camp. In light of that, we've also made some special amenities. So for example, I've got my own wash bowl here. Each service personnel has been issued with their own wash bowl for the exercise, for health and safety reasons and for hygiene. We've each got our own washing bag for our own personal clothes. And we've also got our own personal solar showers as well. And that is all just designed to keep things as clean and disinfected as possible, but also so there's no sharing of kit and equipment.
What COVID meant was that we literally had to stop all training for a time, but certainly with the recruits coming in from their families, we had to be very careful indeed bringing them in. So unfortunately we lost a bit of momentum. Now that we're back to training and recruits are coming in again, we're loading them onto training courses, but of course there's a backlog, there's months of recruits who are interested and want to join, and the challenge for us is to get them into the system as quickly as we possibly can.
With a regimental wake-up at 5:30 a.m, it's straight into action. And back on the range for more live-fire tactical training.
So I work as a probation service officer, so it's we're in the community and inside a lot, but you know, tend not to work in areas like this really. I think it's a bit adventurous, bit of action, and I suppose it's good to challenge yourself. So no matter who you are, you've got to be out of your comfort zone at some point on the training. For me, it was quite a lot of it, so it's good. It helps you grow as a person, really. Yeah.
Shoot! Delta! Ammo state! How many mags? Oi! Delta! Ammo state! Charlie! Watch and shoot! It's 2 mags! On distance!
The aim here is to get the reserves to the same level as the regulars, to integrate them on the battlefield.
We often have soldiers away with 1 and 2 lanks on operations, and we also backfill other regular units. What this training does is it prepares the soldiers to integrate into regular units and deploy on operations overseas.
This is the first time I've live fired in this manner, so we've been doing sort of section attacks, your fire team attacks, your pairs of fire and manoeuvre. I've done range work in the past, but this has been an amazing package. It's given us some experience that's actually going to be applicable in the field as well. I'm hoping to join as a regular officer, so I'd like to get some experience as a reserve soldier first, and just sort of make sure that it's the career I want to do.
We've got sweet and sour pork, we've got roast chicken, we've got stewed beef with dumplings, chicken a la king with rice as well.
It doesn't stop there for these reserves, as it's straight back to camp for a hot meal as we wait for the night to draw in. Then it's back on the range for a live fire night shoot. For many here, it's the first time they fired a weapon in the dark.
We operate in day and night. Obviously, we need to be prepared to fight the enemy with light and without. It's absolutely essential that we practice with the pieces of equipment, as I aforementioned, the night sights and the LLMs, so that we're absolutely ready to defeat any enemy that we're facing.
Yep.
So today on the night shoot, what I'm looking for is command and control from my section commander, bringing men onto the targets, making sure he's balancing the rates of fire, looking into his 2IC, controlling him, understanding the battle picture, feeding that back to me so that I have the situational awareness of the firefight. I'm also looking for aggression and that kind of desire to fight, suppress the enemy and keep them away.
It's now approaching midnight and the reserves have been up for more than 18 hours. What they're doing here is of course being tested to see how well they operate as a platoon in the dark.
The sections behind me are going through the chute, contacting enemy as they come forwards, using the slumis in the air to obviously see the enemy on the ground, taking advantage and using the equipment that we have on our person, whether it be the HMVGSs or the LLMs, to bring the fight into greater detail.
I was the GPMG gunner, so I was at the centre of the section, just keeping a high rate of fire down on all long-range targets. So whereas the IW fire about 300 metres, 600 at section level, I could just keep hitting those targets further and further away.
Lighting up the battlefield as best they can, the reserves are still aiming to hit their targets. It's focused on testing their stamina and accuracy while using night vision technology.
I think it went really well. It was good to put rounds down range. Communication was good. I had good comms with the section commander and 2IC. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Brilliant. Yeah, as I said, first time for me on a night shoot, watching the section commanders, controlling their sections, really kind of happy with how it's gone the first time. Good lessons learned, lots of things to take forwards, but for a first performance, both for myself but also for the section and the platoon as a whole, it's been a really, really successful night. There's that initial kind of hesitancy with taking on a kind of new shoot in the dark, new atmospherics. Passing messages along was definitely a big one, big takeaway tonight, making sure everyone's confident on the commands being given along the line. So lots of things to work on, very excited to take it forward.
And on that note, all that's left now is to go back to camp for a good night's sleep.
Okay, so we use these to generate hot water. From here, it gets transferred into these Norgi containers. It gets mixed with a bit of cold water, so obviously it's not scalding, it comes boiling from there.
Life on camp comes with its challenges, water tanks being one and wash bowls or shower bags being the other. takes months of planning to set up a camp like this, especially under the guidelines set in September.
Many of the other tents are spread further apart. At the beginning of the camp, this was designed so that there would be smaller isolation bubbles between the personnel living in the tents. The soldiers have been living in their tents in their sections, so that's approximately 8 to 10 men, and that's been split males and females as we do in the army.
As well as cleanliness, these reserves need to eat, which means the chefs have to cook in a mobile kitchen.
We won't be finishing here now till about, what, 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, because we've got to do like another container meals for the lads. We put soup on for them. Most of the stuff we're being used is container meals. You know what I mean? So it's all like ration packs. You know what I mean? So not most of it's fresh like me, so we just make the most of it. But I said we've had no complaints from the lads yet.
Working up an appetite out on the range, this section are flexing their firepower. Everything we see here was miles from the exercise they had planned for Denmark.
The exercise in Denmark was going to be largely a blank exercise. This, because we have the opportunity to conduct field firing with live ammunition, means that we've had to almost redesign the whole exercise. The intent is still the same, which is to prepare reservists to integrate with their regular counterparts for operations overseas, but when they're using live ammunition, we really do have to be careful how we progress from individual skills to fire team to section. So yeah, there was a bit of a redesign.
The skills they learn here are vital for their future deployments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.